dad, and he said, you need to go out after you finish university. You need to go to see the world, you see outside of China. Because in China, I feel too many things that control me. Doesn't matter the boss or the relatives and the teachers, everybody on your face, everybody giving you suggestions, everybody told you should do this, do that, do whatever. And for me, I always wanted to be myself. I came here 30 years ago as an international student, just a young woman in 20s, only with $1,000 in my pocket, and just land at where we are in Vancouver. It's pretty scary, of course. I never can forget that feeling when I was in the airport and nobody picked me up and sitting on my luggages.
How did you get from babysitting jobs into the actual accounting field?
The owner basically say, why I need to hire you? You have no accounting background, no working experience in Canada. You only came to Canada like 3 years. Your English is super bad. I have no reason to hire you. Every time you see 90% of people going to that way, you need to go to another way. That's why you're becoming successful. Starting a business is not easy. So you needed to be prepared mentally. Lots of price you need to pay, and either you pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. If you have these three, anyone can be successful. So the number one thing is
So, welcome to today's episode of Survive to Thrive. Joining us is Winnie Hsu, an accomplished entrepreneur and leader with over 30 years of experience in accounting and business development. Winnie is the founder and CEO of NextGen Accounting, a cloud-based accounting company serving over 200 small businesses in British Columbia, Canada. She's also the visionary behind the Vision to Reality Foundation, an online community dedicated to helping newcomers and aspiring entrepreneurs turn their dreams into reality. With an MBA from Jack Welch Management Institute and a commitment to continuous learning, Winnie has a wealth of knowledge to share about entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and building a successful career in a new country. Today, we'll delve into her inspiring journey, her insights on business and community involvement, and practical advice for young professionals. Welcome, Winnie.
Thank you.
Winnie, my question to you is, I've had a couple conversations with you, including this, and you have had over 30 years of experience in professional world. How would you describe your experience and your lessons in a sentence?
I'm thinking just have a big dream and taking actions. So I believe this is quite important because in today's world, so many people have dreams, but actually just a wish because they don't take action to moving forward to that particular dream. And especially as an international student, I came here 30 years ago as an international student, just same as you, just longer or earlier time in the early 90s. And I came here with nothing, didn't speak English. Even I passed the TOEFL exam, but only, like a multiple choice. It's not really know how to speak English, and also only with $1,000 in my pocket, and just land at where we are in Vancouver International Airport, and basically just with a big heart. At the time, of course, I didn't know what I wanted to do or how I survive in Canada because I don't even know a soul in Canada. Came as a young woman in 20s, in my 20s. So it's pretty scary, of course. I never can forget that feeling when I was in the airport and nobody picked me up and sitting on my luggages. So basically the second day, there's no jet lag. I just went out, walking 2 hours to Chinatown, bought a Chinese newspaper, starting to make phone calls on the payphone, like basically in the booths, one by one. And then many places they speak Cantonese, which is most of the people came from Hong Kong those days. And I only can speak Mandarin, so I understand nothing what they said. So eventually I found one place, the lady looking for a babysitter for 3 little girls. and the woman is can speak Mandarin, but actually married to an English speaking husband. So that's where I found my first
Mm.
job as a
Mm. Right.
babysitting job.
What's interesting also is also that that wasn't your background. The educational background was different.
No, I finished my Bachelor of Science
Right.
actually in China already. I thought I should come here to do my master degrees. And also, I worked for a few years in China already, and I feel I had a pretty good job, pretty good life there. And it's as a professional, right? I
Mm.
was in a college teaching for a couple years as an instructor, so similar like the BCIT or land grant type of college. And also later on, I worked in an international corporation in their office for a couple years. So basically, I feel like I've never done babysitting, never done cleaning houses
Mm.
or any of those
So
jobs.
how did you get to do that? Because if I were you in my position, I would be thinking, well, I should just go back. I have a better life. So
Mhm.
why did you not go back? I know it's a difficult question to answer, but I'm very
No,
curious.
because the interesting things is my dad actually planning that seeds in my head. I said, you need to go out after you finish university. You need to go to see the world. You need to go to like other countries to see outside of China. Because in early 90s, China is still fairly close. Not everybody can just get a passport and just go to visit. There's not many places we could go. The only way you could go out is by like a study
Mm.
abroad, or maybe you're a government official, they send you on a delegate or something, or business trip or something, right? Normal citizens like us, we can't just say we got a passport and then apply a visa, go somewhere to travel. Just no way.
Mm.
And for me, I always wanted to have the freedom. Because in China, I feel too many things that control me, right? And doesn't matter the boss or the relatives and the teachers, everybody because so many people, right? So
Mm.
of course, everybody on your face, everybody giving you suggestions, everybody told you should do this, do that, do whatever. And for me, I always wanted to be myself. I wanted to be able to support myself and then also making decisions for myself. Um,
And do you think that when you came here and nobody knew you, you took that as an advantage instead of disadvantage? Because now you could make more mistakes, or you could, you don't have that societal pressure that you talked about.
yeah, even it's quite scary, of
Mm.
course. Came here, but when I landing where we are, when the girl actually and her friend drove me to the basement suites, was in probably around April or May. So all the cherry trees are so beautiful, and the blue skies and the clean airs. I just feels, gosh, this country is so beautiful. And then the second day, when I walked 2 hours to Chinatown, I was basically skipping, like so happy, right? Yeah, because I just say I'm free, that kind of feeling. Even the
Wow.
another part was the trepidations, like
Yes.
the fear inside. But at the same time, I feel so happy. And then I met an older Caucasian lady, and she said, "You must be very happy." I said, "Yes, yes, I'm very happy." Because I truly want that freedom. Because I know I can make the decision. I'll take the fall. I'll take the responsibility. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure. So at least I think that's more, if a teeny toddler will be more heavier in that side than the
Mm.
fear, right? So that's basically how I felt at the
I'm
time.
I really want to know because a lot of students that I have a chat with, they also talk about yes, they found their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're working, they're making money,
Mm-hmm.
which does relieve a little bit of pressure. But then there's also that social pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of belonging that's missing.
Yeah.
So I think the question that I'm getting to is how did you make friends even
Um,
after getting
I
your job?
basically didn't make friend in the first 2 years. I did not make much friend.
And how what was
Um,
that like for you?
no, because the reason is I had a goal. After the first day, I picked up the newspaper because on the newspaper it's printed in Chinese, so I couldn't read. I basically read an article said average middle class in Canada they're making 50,000 a year. So I basically thinking, oh, when I can make 50,000 a year, and that's early 90s, right? The minimum wage in McDonald's was $4.50. That's minimum wage, or $5 or something around there. Um, but I basically had no clue. The first things I know, I have to be financially free. If you don't have financial free, you can't even feed yourself. You can't even, like support yourself. How can you thinking anything else, right? So
Mm.
even I took some money from the family, like the $1,000, but still I needed to be, first of all, to be financially free. So basically that after I read that article, I wrote down a goal. I said, in 5 years, Winnie is gonna make $50,000. That's my
Mm-hmm.
first goal. Because in that room, another girl basically got an old mattress. She said, I pick up from the dumpster, old mattress
Mm.
on the floor, and there's an old lamp on the
Mm.
side. Nothing, basically in my room. And she said that's the best things I could do, because I don't have money to buy any furnitures for you.
Mm.
So I sit on the mattress, basically got my little book. I wrote down that's my first goal.
Wow.
And then also I realized the day I was walking to Chinatown, nobody understand my English.
Mm.
No matter what I say, people, difficult to understand what I try to say. Even I'm asking the directions, and very hard for people to understand my English. So I wrote down the second goal is in 2 years, we need to learn how to speak English.
Mm.
That's basically the first two goals I wrote down on basically the first day.
Financial independence and learn
And
English.
learning English, because learning English is a tool. At the time, I understand it's not mean English is better than Chinese. It's more like, if I'm going to survive in this country, I have to speak English. There's no other choice. So basically, I wrote down that, and then I went to my luggage. I brought a couple of a Chinese book, Chinese magazines, like fashion magazines as a young girl, right? And also some cassette tape with the pop music I really love. I basically put them in my shoebox, taped it. I wrote down in 2 years, when I know how to speak English, that's the time I'm going to open it.
Wow.
So that's the decision you make,
Mm.
right? I mean, if you have a dream big enough or scary enough, I think it's scary enough, because
Scary
I'm
enough.
really scared
Yeah.
if tomorrow I don't have money to pay rent or don't have money to eat. And then I have to go home to be so shamed to tell my parents I couldn't live here. And because of the proud, like the pride in
The
your
pride.
heart, right? Because I was always a good student, student leader when I grew up. And then my family, all my cousins, all my aunties, uncles, they all say, Winnie is you guys' role model, because I'm the oldest person, like in both my parents' family, all their siblings. I'm the oldest, like a grandchild. So all my cousins, all my auntie uncles always say, "Oh, you guys need to learn with Winnie." So I feel that pressure. I have to make it. There's no other ways not making it.
Mm.
Even I have to finish school. I have to make a living. I have to have a better life. So there's almost feels I have no way to turn back. I have to make it before I can turn back, can go back. It's not like if I don't have money now, I just go back in three.
Yeah.
I can't even afford the airplane ticket, because the airplane ticket was 8,000 Chinese yuan. That's maybe equivalent to $1,000 US.
It's crazy how you still remember those numbers.
Yeah, because my boss paid it.
Okay.
Yeah, at the
Got it.
company, my boss is really good, and he said, "Winnie, you're the same age as my daughter. I wanted to support you." And
Wow. That's so
so my
kind of him.
boss paid the airline, a one-way airline ticket for me.
One way airline ticket.
So basically, there's not only financially, emotionally, and a personal choice. And I feel I have no way to just not doing anything and just go. Just my mom is really an incredible lady, and she influenced me and my sister a lot in life. Basically, in my family, my mom and dad only have me and my sister. My sister 10 years younger than me. Only two girls. So in China, most of the people, of course, they want to have a son, and right. So even they're promoting the woman and man are equal, everything. But it's still many families they thinking the son is supposed to be the one carry your torch, carry your family names and everything.
Which is what's
Uh,
interesting is when they sent you here, kind of, and your parents had that spark, which is so rare to find, and
yeah.
you're very fortunate for that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am. Yeah, because my parents both they actually left the home when they were like 16 years old, so they're very open minded, very like a free spirit, you can say, right? So they grew up in the old China, still in wars, right? They went to Korean War as Red Army, right? And then they came back to China in early 50s and got married. So both my parents, they are very how to say educated and also open minded. The Chinese parents, not like a lots of Chinese parents,
Mhm.
so they see the difficulties of life. They see the wars. They also been through the 10 years of Cultural Revolution, got sent to the labor education camp. I went there with them when I was 6 years old and stayed there until age 11, and before we came back to the big city, where we actually I born and grew up. Um, the things is that my parents never took life as hard, no matter what's happened to them. Even they were already in certain position at age 35, just thinking the during the Chinese or Cultural Revolution, the Red Guard, which is the many teenagers wear those red things on their arm. They just came to our apartment one time, like one day, took everything from my parents and just say, next Monday, you guys get on the train and send you to like a 2 days train out of nowhere in very rural place to go to that uh, education camp, like hard labors. And my parents basically lost everything, only two luggage. and, and then
Crazy
I
stuff.
was only 5 or 6 years old. They couldn't take me, so they said that you cannot take a kids when they're under 10 because it's too harsh, the life. There's no place. They live in the tent. They have to dig the wheels, they have to make their own mud hut and everything. So I went there after 10 months when they're settled at that camp. And then they can say, okay, the kids can go.
Mm.
So I was in the full time daycare for 10 months at age
Wow.
6 without parents. And so that's why I respect my parents so much. So they teach me and my sister said you need to be financially independent, emotionally independent, and then politically independent.
Hmm.
So make your own decision, take your own responsibility for life.
Right.
That's the lesson they taught me.
Going back to the job aspect of it,
Mm,
if someone comes up to you,
mm,
especially with the foundation that you have, which
mm,
I'd love for you to talk about a little
mm,
bit, which
mm,
are helping newcomers. I'm sure you get a lot of these questions is,
mm,
Winnie, I have all this experience behind
mm,
me, just
mm.
like you did,
Yeah, yeah,
and now I have to start from scratch, right?
yeah,
So what would you say is the first steps that they should do if they want to find a job here in Vancouver in Canada?
if they already have a lots of professional background nowadays, have so many support. Like people will like myself, or there's another called the Immigration Network. They also connecting people with the local different professions, and there are many other organizations. There's another one I think coming to Canada is another organization they're helping. And of course, you have a success. You have ISSBC in Vancouver here. They can also helping you to find your first job in your own profession or maybe like a similar profession. But many newcomers are still probably in the first job you cannot find exactly match with what you learned, what you did in your own country. And I never thought I'm doing housekeeping and then babysitting. And later on, I found a warehouse packing boxes job. um, all those ones, I never thought it was a wasting time for me. So every single one I thought was an opportunity for me. So I'm thinking that's the different mindset, right? I feel this I'm learning Canada. I'm learning English. And also even cleaning houses. The lady asked me, have you ever cleaned a house before? I said, no. Do you know how to use a washing machine? No. Do you know how to use dishwasher? No. And she said, do you know how to use oven? No. And, and she said, why I wanted to hire you to be my babysitter and a housekeeper. I said, I can learn. No problem. I
Mm.
can learn.
And you
Name. So that's how I feel.
I
Uh,
really like that. I think I had a problem growing up, which is that hurdle which is
Mm.
I have to work a job. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this is not something that I want to do.
Uh-huh.
I used to stop myself from growing.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't until this one incredible person gave me a nudge and said, What are you doing? Why
Uh-huh.
don't you just start?"
Uh-huh.
And then once I started on being on that path of financial independence, even though I'm making really small money at the
Yeah.
moment,
Yeah.
is feels very good.
Yeah.
And the pride thing that you talked about, it feels good to be able to, when you're paying for something, it feels good that it's
Yeah.
coming out of your pocket. You
Support
feel
your
like you've
own
earned.
self. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
important, right?
No, even now, so many international student parents can help to pay tuitions, can help to pay your room and board, everything. But if you can earn a little bit of pocket money, you don't have to asking everything. You wanted
Yeah,
to buy a game, you can use your own money, right? You want to buy a particular shoes or clothes you love, and you can use your own money. You don't have to ask your parents to pay a $300 shoes
yeah.
or
I
$400 backpack, right? I mean,
absolutely. I feel very
or
fortunate that
iPhones, whatever, right? So I feel so that's make you really proud of yourself. Um, so at least that's how I feel.
yeah, I feel very fortunate that I also have that same experience where my parents are supporting me. Without that, I
Yeah,
I would not be, who I am today.
yeah.
Um, how did you get into accounting? Because how did you get from babysitting jobs into the actual accounting field? What was that like, the professional world?
That's really interesting. Is coming from packing boxes in warehouse. So most of the people don't thinking each things you do actually is a stepping stone for your next things you can do. So I was doing the packing boxes in a warehouse for an importing company, and they import t-shirts and shirts from Vietnam, India to Canada, and then they can wholesale them to different retail stores here. So the owner actually, both of them, they're lawyers. They own a law firm in downtown Vancouver. They just on the side. They love travel all over the world, so they travel to Vietnam and India. They said, "Wow, they're so cheap. Their T-shirts. I should import them." So they basically just import a whole container to Vancouver. They put in a warehouse, and then they hire a salesperson to sell to different like a H&M or other like clothing stores. So when the salesperson bring back an order to say, "Oh, I need a 10 dozen small red. I need a 20 dozen blue, medium size, whatever," they just give to me. So in the weekend, I took this as a part-time job, go to their warehouse to try to pick up and pack in a box, and then the salesperson can deliver to those stores. I was doing that, and then the owner, the lawyer couple, one weekend have a lots of order. They know I couldn't do it by myself, so they came to the warehouse to help me, and they said, "Winnie, how come you never complain this working conditions? It was just like only like 6 by 10 warehouse, and stacked with the boxes, with 30 pound heavy of each boxes, and you have to move this yellow box to take that red one under there. How can you do it? You're only 5 feet tall. You're only like 110 pounds, and how can you do it?" I said, "I just did it." I didn't ask
Wow.
why. So basically, Chris and Susan, they said, "We can't even do it. I mean, it's like there's no windows in this warehouse. It's super hot in the summer. You were sweating like a pig, and how can you do it? And you never complained to us. You never even told us." I said, "I'm just doing my job. I never even thinking I should complain to you guys or asking more money." And so both of them, they probably touched by that kind of hardworking abilities. So they was telling me, they said, "Oh, like you can come to our office helping me to do billings." I said, "I know nothing about accounting. I finished bachelor degree in science. I'm not taking accounting courses here." So Susan said, "I'm running the law firm as the manager. I really don't have time to do those billing, and I can show you. I still pay you $10 an hour. You can come to the office, to use the software to do the billing." I said, "Sure." So that's basically I just came to her office, learned a little bit, and then I was cleaning houses for somebody, and the wife said, "Winnie, do you know how to counting receipts? Because my husband started a business in the garage."
Oh my God.
And so I said, "Sure, I can count your receipt." I was counting the receipt, putting in the spreadsheet for him. That's my first client. And
Wow.
today, after 28 years, they're still my client. Their son taking over the business. The couple already in their late 60s, early 70s. And then they already becoming multi-million-dollar business. And at the time, the husband starting in the garage. I was cleaning houses. So basically, you just take whatever you have, right? And then I think I was cleaning somebody's house. They said, "Oh, Winnie, if you're looking for a full-time job, there's a small company in Vancouver looking for accounts receivable clerk in the office. So I can at least ask the owner to give you an interview." I said, "Sure, of course. I'm looking for a full-time job." I was cleaning houses all over the place, doing warehouse packing boxes, like three part-time jobs basically. Um, so I went there, sent my resumes, and the owner was a Jewish Canadian and already grew up here, like a born here, grew up here. So he basically say, "Why I need to hire you? You have no accounting background, no working experience in Canada. You only came to Canada like 3 years. Your English is super bad. I have no reason to hire you. The only thing is I give you an interview because my friend asked me to give you an interview." So I said, "If you don't hire me, you're stupid." That's what my
Okay.
answer. um, it's not my meaning, right?
Of
So I said,
course.
"Oh, no, no, no. It's more like I'm thinking you make a big mistake, because I can work hard. I will learn fast. Um, you will never meet anybody working hard as Winnie. Um, and also, I'm gonna give you an offer you cannot refuse." He said, "What offer?" I said, "I work 2 weeks for free." If I can learn the software, they were using ACPAC accounting, which is the huge software in accounting field at the time. Also DOS version on computer. I have no clue. I never even heard about ACPAC, never even know how to use the computer on the DOS version. Um, but their supervisor actually trained me in that 2 weeks, and basically the owner said, "Nobody gave me this offer before. I'll buy you a cup of coffee downstairs. I like your attitude." That's how I basically got in to be the volunteer, you can say, for 2 weeks. And during that 2 weeks, and the 9 people in the office, they're all Caucasians. They all like me, at least at that time. And then eventually my supervisor told the owners that Winnie can handle this job. So they hired me after 2 weeks.
That's such an
Uh,
inspiring story to know that never give up, right? And say yes
yeah,
to opportunities and
yeah.
have that inside you.
It's the gutsy. I think it's just the guts inside your heart, right? Yeah. It's the confident.
Yeah.
Um, so anybody can do it. It's not only me, and I'm nothing special in that realm. And
I can imagine someone saying, "Well, Vinny, the volunteering thing that you did for those 2 weeks, that was definitely a gutsy move, right?
yeah,
But what if they told you to volunteer for a long period of time? But for someone who's financially struggling,
yeah.
should they volunteer?"
No, it's up to you. Do you know if you feel that owner just try to take advantage from you, just say no. But if you know there's an opportunity, you can afford to learn and you can continue doing it. Because for me, every single steps, job or volunteer or any, I look at them as an opportunity. I never look at them as other people take advantage from you, or maybe that one is not what um, not like lower my level to do it. I never thought that way. Always thought it's an opportunity. I can learn something. So the first mindset, always thinking these things, if I choose to do, what I can learn from it,
Mm.
right? So I learned so much about accounting. So on the side, I still doing cleaning houses. I still doing counting the receipt for the owner, and then I got other clients. And so after 2.5 years, my side business doing bookkeeping, accounting, earning more money than my full time job. So I basically ditched the full time job and starting my own. So
Hmm.
that's exactly how I did my start my um, business.
Right.
Many people was asking how a newcomer you struggling with finance, how can you start your own business? You can have a full time job and just building your side gigs in evening and weekend, but you do have to give up quite a lot in the beginning, um, to working, evening and weekend, right?
And what skills would you, knowing what you know now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really good at seeing opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a young person came to you and said, "Winnie, I don't know what skills to learn. I look on social media and see that everybody is being an entrepreneur. They're doing
Yeah.
incredible things, drop shipping. There's so much.
Yeah.
So what are some basic skills? What are some three skills that you'd ask those young people to just start learning?"
Mhm.
and because you can see that there's a return in the future? What would those be?
One is, of course, thinking long term. And I truly believe that's not really a skill, it's a character or a quality of some person. Because many people, they're in your age, especially now, everything's so fast. Like you fast food, everything you want to ship and drop, right? And basically order something next day in your door, or even in the evening can be at your door. So everything's so fast, you want everything today now if you want something. But actually in financial success or entrepreneur, if you're thinking you truly wanted to build a solid foundation and then you can long lasting, like not just open a flower and then just died, right? We see many new startups and probably very very shine for a short period of time and then they just died. If you truly wanted to build a long lasting, that kind of a financial stability. Also, you're proud of yourself, have inner peace, have the balance of life. Those all take time. They take accumulation. Just like you investing money, they take, how to say, compound interest, right? So you save $1 today, even they pay you only 10% or 2%. Next year you're gonna have $10.20, right? And then another 2%, you maybe have $10, more. So after you double that, and many of you, if you check online, double your penny for a year, how much you're gonna get? You get millions, right? So you all know that analogy, but that's applying life is exactly the same. Everything is an accumulation. So never feel every single minute you're wasting if you're just working at McDonald's or if you're just working a coffee shop, or just doing some labor job, never thinking even 1 minute you wasted, because that's all the accumulation for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel this way, you will never feel anxiety or angry or feel, oh, this world is not fair for me, right? Everybody owe me, or I shouldn't born this way, another person is richer or parents give them more, and how come I have to support myself for my education, another person parents pays everything.
Mm.
And if you're constantly focusing your thought in that areas, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have time to focus on your own future.
You're right, and it's hard
It's hard, yeah.
because you see how
Yeah,
you see so many things. There's
yeah,
so much
yeah, social
information out
media,
there.
yeah.
Definitely impacts in some
So
way.
that's why in our house we don't have a TV. We cut all the cables. We don't have
Wow.
like we don't have any streaming when we
Netflix.
pay money. No, we just don't have them
How do you have
because
fun?
no, if like we do have some TV, like Wi-Fi TV, right? So those ones, if we wanted to watch some movie, we can watch, or watch YouTube, so we can watch, right? So those ones. But the things is before internet, there's TVs. You have to subscribe those channels. We just cut off the cable.
Mm,
Which no,
got
because you use that time to developing yourself, right? I mean, you can have fun. And nowadays you have so many social medias, and I basically refuse to check them all the time. I only check the individual messages, or if somebody need to talk to me or something. And really rare for me to spending time to flipping through a lot of things, because you can just go into it and then forgot the hours, right? Because it's interesting. Wow, there that show is so interesting. You get into it and then another half an hour gone. um,
What would you say the second and third skill would be?
Second skill is you developing yourself, because my mentor actually correct me one time, because I asked him. I said, "Oh, everybody knows what not what you know is who you know." I believe you heard this too, right? Did you? Right. So you wanted to know the right person. They can connect you to the right person, or giving you opportunity or offer you opportunities, right? So basically, my mentor, it's probably the top, how many richest person in BC, a very successful business owner. And he said one thing. So he said, many people saying not what you know is who you know, but he will add on one. He said, if you know nothing, who wants to know you?
I've
So
never heard with that one
yeah,
before.
so he said, this is makes sense. If you know nothing, who wants to know you? Right? So that's why you need to truly learn developing yourself. make who you are attractive and people want to know you, right? Or either do something. Several of my mentors, they all totally down to earth person. Even they're super successful, they're bestseller authors. They have a super rich or profitable business and doing different business, all successful, and none of them that flashy. They just really down to earth, living their life like a normal person, and they talk to you just as a long term friend. That's how I see who they are. So they taught me one important thing is just building yourself, which is reading the books and know building your confident level. But that confident level is not the ego. It's not just be a jerk or really snobby. Treat everybody kind. Don't get angry. Don't let other things bothers you. Don't let other people say something will throw you off 2 3 days. You couldn't function because you constantly,
Thinking about
here,
that.
yeah, thinking about that. That's called a personal growth. Personal growth is you can be centered, control your own emotion, control your own, your own schedule, right? I mean, what's important on each day on your schedule. Doesn't matter what other people say. That's the true confidence. Um, so my co-CEO in my foundation, he came to interview a job when he was 19 years old, when he was as a SFU business student. He came to my accounting firm interview for a job in early 2019. He was 19 years old. So when he came in, we thought, wow, this is such a young guy. Like what he knows. He wants to interview a job to do part-time bookkeeping accounting. And then after me and my manager interview him, and we asked him, he said, "You have school, you have full time school. You also living, pretty far from our office, and then you also running a club, like a student nonprofit or whatever club, and where you have time to working for us? How you managing your time?" Right, because also our team mostly working hybrid. You have to do a lot of work at home. How you managing your own time? He pulled up from his whatever folder a Google schedule, like a literally calendar schedule. Showed us a color code. Those blue ones, all my school time. Those orange ones is my group study, my assignment, whatever. And those green areas is the day and time I could work. We were shocked. He was
Wow.
19 years old, and we were completely shocked. So me and my manager after this, and then we asked him and said, "Why you wanted to working for us? Why you want to working for NextGen Accounting? What do you know about us?" He he basically just didn't read the notes, anything, just share with us our core values. What is our cultures? And he knows our website better than ourselves, I can tell
Wow.
you. And we were completely blown our mind. So after he left, me and my manager were talking. We said, no matter what this guy knows about accounting, we hire him.
Mm,
It's that kind of a thing because he showed us who he is. Not how much he only took one accounting course. He's not an accounting student. Yeah, he was
interesting.
like more like a business admin or business management, whatever others like a focus, not accounting, finance. And so we said those skills he can learn. The only things we want is his character, his
Interesting.
qualification. That's what we're looking for. And so we hired him as a part time. He worked great. He learned really fast, and later on becoming our assistant manager because he giving us lots of input and feedbacks regarding how we set up apps, how we using some new technologies to to increase the efficiency, and that's what we love, right? So you can see it's not the age, it's
Mm,
not anything you know or you don't know. Of course, at that time he was third year university. He doesn't have a certificate. He doesn't have anything under his name to say he's a what degree or any certifications or any designation. None. It's not because of those people hire you or were attracted to you. So later on, he worked for us probably not very long, and then the COVID happened, right? So always online, and eventually, so this also the reason. Even later on, he went to different places to work, but we kept the relationship. We just know this guy is meant something. It's going to be
Mm.
somebody.
He was ready, and that allows me to reflect a little bit too, because I was in a similar position where I pitched
Mm,
myself to someone,
mm,
but the difference was I wasn't ready. I
mm.
just did it out of just looking at if it works or not, but I didn't research properly. I wasn't very committed to it because
Yeah,
I was distracted all the time.
yeah,
So it allows me to look back and think, oh, maybe this is something that I can work on the next time I get an opportunity and someone actually trusts in me and stuff. So it's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
learning lesson for not just me, but a lot of people, I'm sure, that
Yeah,
feel that
especially
way.
for you were looking for your first job, you're young, you just, you're still in school, like in your early 20s, hasn't had any job or business experience or working experience. I'm thinking what he showed is he never have a working experience, right? 19 years old. Also immigrate here when he was probably 5 or 6 years old from Hong Kong, right? He also newcomers or whatever, right?
Do you
Um,
want to mention his name as well?
yeah, he's my co-founder and my co-CEO in Vision to Reality Foundation. It's Ryan Ching. Yeah, it's really really impressive,
Yeah.
and this is why when I thinking to starting this foundation, I went to pitch to him. I said, "You need to be my co-founders."
Wow.
Yeah,
At such
because
a young age.
I had the idea. I said
Right.
I needed to have him on my team
Yeah.
because I remembered how he worked, how he growed
That's
in these
incredible.
years, right? So this is called accumulation. The relationship accumulation, your time accumulation, experience accumulation, they're all compound interest. So don't only thinking so narrow, the compound interest only related to the money in the bank or money in your investment. Actually, compound, like a compound interest is also coming to any relationship you have, and also your ability, your personal growth, right? All of them is compound interest.
Incredible. Any third thing that you have? I know there's a lot in there.
Yeah, third things is
What
just
do you
be
think?
a lifelong learner. You
Mm.
have to open up, always learn, and never thinking you know them all. Even, of course, if you in your age, you know way more social media and computers and apps, AIs, and all those ones compared with my age, for sure. But you still don't know it all, right? I mean, so you need to open to learn from different age group, different cultural background, different type of industry, and don't only limit it in one areas. I feel to be a lifelong learner, it's absolutely will benefit everyone.
Off camera, we were talking about the two things that you really care about or you see in founders and yourself, which is persistent and consistent. I'll let you talk a little bit more about that because that's quite interesting and something that I have to work on. So I want to learn more. So this is selfish. I just want to learn
Yeah.
from you.
I actually learned that from one of the virtual mentor. I call everybody virtual mentor if I haven't met them, right? Or I read their book. They're all my virtual mentors because I love reading. So I read, I don't know, hundreds books. And even last 5 years, I keep track of all the book I'm reading. Probably average 2 to 3 books each week, and some audiobooks, some ebooks, and some actual books. So that's where all the wealth of knowledge coming into as a person, and many of them they're my virtual mentors. So there's a one very old one. I read his book and listened to his tape like 30 years ago, probably, or
Mm.
28 years ago, called Zed Ziegler. He was one of the top salesperson in a company, and later on, of course, start his own. So he talking about basically there's three things to make somebody financially successful. So the number one thing is you have a dream, vision, goal, whatever. Like you have a direction to go. Number two is consistent. Number three is persistent. If you have these three, anyone can be successful. Because in this world, only have around 2% people can be consistent and persistent. So consistent means you're day in, day out, do the grinding things like the boring things if you're saying basically you're accumulating, but you know that's the right direction every single day. Just move a little bit. Just like a Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, 1,000 miles start with first step or the one step, right? I mean, I think any culture background, they all have a similar type of a saying in their language. They have a similar type of saying. Like no matter where you wanted to go, you have to go to the first step, and then the second step, and then the third step. Just consistent going, you're gonna finish that 10,000 miles. But if you're never going to that first step, or maybe quit in the 100,000 step, you're never going to go to that, whatever miles you wanted to go. So this consistent is super, super important. I found that not by my personal experience, only by my personal experience, by many, many the business owner I met, many other successful people in life I met, they all have this quality, which is consistent. Like every single day, you just do a little bit. If you do sales, every single day make 10 phone calls or 40 phone calls. It doesn't matter what the result is. Just every single day, every single day, every single day, and doing that little bit. Um, Becoming a habit, right? So this is called a consistent. But so many people, they do for a while, they didn't see a result. They just say, forget it. This, this, this road is no good. I need to change. But in that way, they haven't even see the result yet, or they wanted the result too fast. Maybe give yourself 2, 3 years. Give yourself 5 years. Do the same things 5 years, day in, day out, and see the result. Especially if for you, you're only in your early 20s, right? Or 20 years old. You can't give yourself 5 years. Just say, I just do this every single day for 5 years. And then I wanted to see what kind of result I have after 5 years. That's basically just a personal promise to yourself. Don't need to worry about, what other people say. But persistent, Zed Zegler was saying, is mean you're resilient, you know how to adapting to different environment, to different people, different feedbacks, criticism. So persistent, that's mean you fail, you get up, you fail, you get up. Somebody say no, you keep going, right? And just nobody put you down. That's called a
Mm-hmm.
persistent. And also too many people give up too early. That's what I see. So many entrepreneurs, they have such a great dream, great vision, but they give up too early. Um, so even during the beginning, I started my business. Many times I couldn't see the light. I couldn't see where they can end up, like what I like thinking I should be there, why I should make that much money, I should have that many clients. But every time when I dream or I feel so frustrated and so wanted to give up, and every single time I draw a map or draw a picture in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Winnie is walking on in Sahara Desert, and I'm walking just like don't see anywhere have oasis. There's no water. I'm so dry, so thirsty, so hungry, and so exhausted. Just keep walking, right? And every time I see a sand dune, I see a something right in front of me. I always thinking, just right after this, there's a oasis. Right after this, there's a oasis. Every time I tell myself that. But so many people will probably just give up right here, but they forgot just cross this sand dune. That there is the oasis. They have the shade. They have waters. Like beautiful animals. And so in my mind, I just draw that picture constantly. I just thinking when you just go another step, you're gonna see the oasis. Or I draw another map. I said, okay, I'm just walking like a dark alley, really, really dark. Don't see any light. I just thinking, I keep walking in this alley. Just turn that corner. Just turn that corner. I'm going to see the light. And constantly I draw that picture in my own mind and telling myself, so just hold on, just do another step. And that's called a persistent. I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that's called a persistent.
Following up on the consistent, I want to ask you, you said that the journey of 1,000 miles start with one step. Most people find it difficult to take that one step. So
Mm-hmm.
in your life, practically,
Mm-hmm.
how do you take that one step? It could be something like when you're young, when your team members who are
Mm.
younger than you say that, oh, you have to be on social media,
Mm.
instead of saying no, you take the first step by saying yes, that's what you do. But what gets you to that first step?
The first step, that's why Zig Ziglar says you have to have the dream first, right? I mean, if your why not big enough, right? The why is your desire, your dream, your vision, your goal. That one has to be big enough or has to be dear to your heart enough, right? You truly want it. Because for me, coming to Canada, I truly want that financial freedom. And a couple of days ago, we were on a leadership training. Basically, they asked a question. The facilitator basically asked a question, said, "Tell us your biggest fear." Like I talked to my partner, right? So two people share. What is your biggest fear? Today, I don't really have much fear, but 30 years ago, when I was in my 20s, I just came to Canada. My biggest fear at the time is to be old and broke. I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine one day I'm not able to walk, I'm not able to produce, I'm not able to earn money to support myself, and then I have to depending on other people's charity. I have to depending on other communities of charity, or depending on government, or depending on my family member, my relatives, or my children, or my husband to support me because I'm not able to financially support myself. That's the biggest fear in my heart. I didn't really have fear of death because if you died, you don't know anything.
Mm,
But if I'm old, lose all the ability to produce, and then I'm completely broke, not even able to have a roof over my head, not even able to feed myself. At that time, I have to depending on other people. That's scared the hell out of me.
mm,
So that's my biggest fear, and also the biggest drive at the time,
mm-hmm,
right? So it's a selfish drive, and I just wanted to be financial free. I wanted to be able to support myself with a comfortable life. I'm not saying I'm a zillionaires, more like just a comfortable life, able to pay everything, no need to worry about anything, and also have enough saving and investment ready for my old age. So today I don't have that fear anymore because I already created that.
mm,
I know even I'm laying on the bed, I cannot move. I still have enough financial to support myself to live a quality life if I still have my sense or my ears, my eyes, right? Um, so basically, if you find out something you're so scared, that's also can be a big drive, right? Or some people just have a really big dream. They wanted to be a millionaire by age 30 or be a millionaire by age 25. That's also, they have to be a burning desire, not just, I wish.
mm. Can you cultivate that burning desire, or is it something that happens because of your experience or just seeing
I
life in
think just
general?
everybody, you just have to first of all find out what you're good at, right? I mean, each of us have a gift other people don't have. And if you're thinking about when you grow up, definitely your doesn't matter you have brother sister or maybe you have classmates, and there's always something you're better than others. Doesn't matter what area. There's other people will come to you for that particular area, and if you identify that and then cultivate that to developing some skill to make that better, so that one more like your own skill sets, and then you can try to improve that particular area, not try to doing everything else. Maybe you're running really good and you just keep running, right? I mean, to improve that, to learn how to run better, to learn how to do postures, how to creating which muscle on your body, how to eat, right? I mean, then you're becoming a better runner. That's even better. But so many people, if they're pretty good with running, and they said, "Oh, I should learn swimming. I should learn play golf. I should learn how to ski. I should do other things because my friend know how to do that. I wanted to do that." Because if you're spending a lot of time in there, you probably only can reach the average level.
Mm,
But if you're spending on the things you already naturally pretty good, and you're spending more time to developing that particular area, you're going to be outstanding. You're going
mm.
to be over above the average. That's
Right.
where the areas I believe people the more you're doing it, the more, wow, I'm good with this. I'm pretty good with it, right?
And going back to being persistent, I want to play a devil's advocate and ask you, well, Vinny, I've been doing this for, let's say, a year or 2 years or 3 years. When should I know when to stop and pivot? Maybe the light isn't straight ahead. Maybe the light is if I take a left. When do you know when to stop?
I think your heart will know. Yeah, myself, I tried a different business. Some business I tried 3 years, 5 years, it didn't work out, and I put out lots of energy, lots of time, didn't work out. But during that business, I learned something, right? I always accumulating something, and those ones later on can use on my accounting firm, use on my foundation today. I never felt that 5 years I devoting maybe 20 hours each week after work, so exhausted, it's wasted. I didn't feel that's wasted my time. Um, but eventually I realized that's not going to bring the financial security for myself. And I need to put more time here, like in this particular areas I'm good at. Um, and then developing it. So it's especially during your growing as a young person, do take some time to find it. I didn't find them right away. I didn't know I'm pretty good with accounting. I have no idea. In the beginning, I just thought I just be a self-employed by myself and I can do. But my client keep growing. I can't handle them. I have to hire 1%, 2%, 3%, right? It's naturally just happen. And then I realized, oh, I'm maybe not the best counting bean counters, but I'm really good at developing business. I'm
Mm.
really good at getting new clients. And in that way, I can hire a good accountant, right? So now I realize, so during the time, I constantly say, oh, should I do a CPA? Should I go do the course, right? So I ask many other CPA firm partners I met during the journey, and they all say, you don't need to take CPA. You earn more money than CPA already. Why you need to be a CPA? But in my mind, I always thinking, I don't have a CPA. How can I run
Mm.
a accounting company? How can other people trust me, right? I mean, I constantly have that doubt in my heart. Um, but they constantly telling me, they said, you already have a pretty good business. You can hire a CPA. so, so, so eventually,
Interesting.
and of course, I'm busy working in the business. I didn't have time to do CPA.
Mm.
Also, that's the nature of the business. Um, so I never really get CPA, never really taking some accounting courses, but still learning from the work, learning from clients' file. And today I'm pretty good at accountant and also a good, business owner.
Your journey, which was very interesting to me,
Uh-huh.
was when you tapped on someone's shoulder
Uh-huh.
and you said, "Is that your car?" Now
Uh-huh.
I know that story, but I want you to share that because that's quite inspiring, and that
Uh-huh.
again goes back to what we talked about in the first part, which is having the guts to ask questions. So if you want to highlight that a little bit more, I think
I didn't
the
know you were
audience
going
will
to
enjoy.
ask me that question.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, I came to Canada. I was an international student from probably the first couple years. I don't remember exactly when, but I was walking on Granville Street, going to a coffee shop, and saw a guy probably in his mid 40s or early 40. It's a Caucasian guy drove like a red Porsche, like convertible, really beautiful, shiny. So he just come out the car and park the car on the street, also walking to the same coffee shop. And so I basically literally like walking behind him. And so when we line up there, I'm just behind him. So I tap his shoulder. I just say, "Is that your car?" Outside on the street. He was like a bit, like a puzzles why I'm asking this kind of question, right? So he said, "Yes, that's my car." So I basically asked him. I said, "Did your parents buy this for you, or you purchased it by yourself?" Um, so he just laughed. He said, "This is my car. I bought it myself." And so we were still lining up to buy the coffee. Um, I just say, "Can I buy you a cup of coffee? You give me some tips." How to be as rich as you, right?
Mm,
or as successful as you. I don't even remember what I said at the time.
mm,
Um, but he just say, maybe I buy you a cup of coffee.
mm.
So that's why we sat down for 15, 20 minutes. I still remember this probably 25 years ago, and I still remember like yesterday.
Mm.
I don't remember his name. I don't think he ever remember my name. Probably I never even asked at the time. I just asked him. I said, I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to be successful, and in this country, um, can you share some tips how to get where you are? So he gave me a quick story of where, how he started business, that kind of things. And he basically just told me, he said, Winnie, if you look at every morning, there's um, rush hour. What does it mean rush hour? I said, because people going to work, right? So that's why rush hour in the morning and then afternoon rush hour going home. He said that that's correct. So every time you see 90% of people going to that way, you need to go to another way.
Mm.
That's why you're becoming successful. So if you only go into a job and not control your own future as a business owner or entrepreneur or as a consultant or whatever, you will never be financially successful because always somebody else control your time, control how much you can earn, right? Control where you can live, what car you can drive,
Mm.
control what holiday you can take, where you can send your kids for school. Always somebody else control you. If you truly want that financial freedom, you have to own your own business. So that's what he said. I said, "What does it mean? You everybody drive to work. You go to another way." I said, "I have to go to work too, right?
Mm.
It's not me. I can go another way." And he said, "The meaning is that if everybody going to work, you also going to work, earn a living, but you need to use your evening, weekend devoting on your own future.
Mm.
Donate that time. We're devoting that time in your own future." And so if everybody going to a bar to drink, you stay home or you stay on your business, right? Every friend's always asking you go out, you need to tell them no. And you focus on your business, focus on your direction. So that's the price you have to pay.
And we talk a lot about mental health now. Number one, you go out and meet people. Number two,
Mm,
you take breaks and
mm,
stuff. So from the framework that you're providing, how do you find those healthy pockets of time for yourself? And how did you do that? Because when you started your own business, I'm
mm,
sure you were
mm.
constricted of how much time you have because you were
Yeah,
working as well.
yeah.
So if you want to talk a little bit about
So
that.
I use the crack of time. So not everybody able to do this, but for me, um, I could use those crack of time even when I have lots of clients before we change our business to digital accounting, and many clients have to visit their office right during the day with different clients. So normally if I'm visiting client, but sometimes the client meeting will be canceled, right? People will call you in the morning and just say, oh, I couldn't make today's 10 o'clock because my kids are sick or I have some other meetings. Normally, I just take that time off and drive to North Shore, go to do a hiking. So I have my hiking boots, my workout bag in my car,
Mm.
and I go to the North Shore, like Lynn Valley, do a hiking for half an hour. Or some clients maybe cancel a meeting. I just take an early lunch. I buy a sandwich or like a lunch box or something and drive to Kislano Beach, park the
Mm.
car there, watch the ocean, or take a walk. Use that hour to be relaxed, like to be,
Mm.
like a be myself. And also, if you do have a big dream, you focus on your dream. You every day you're excited. You don't have mental issues because you're focusing on the things you really wanted to achieve, want to do. Um, so only you feel your body may be exhausted, right? You're tired. You want to go to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
but you wouldn't feel the mental, how to say, mental
Exhaustion.
issues. Yeah,
Right.
and you don't feel that way because every single day you're moving a little bit a step close to your goal, a little bit close to where you wanted to be, a little bit more saving in your bank
Mm.
account, right? You're constantly seeing that reward and it will make you excited and then positive to moving forward. You don't need to always go to the pub. I love go to the bars. I love dance. I do go out with friends in the like in weekend or whatever when I was younger because I wanted to check out the pubs in Vancouver.
Mm.
I wanted to check out what they do
Mm.
um, as a life experience to experience it. So
Right.
it's quite fun. I'm not saying you don't go to movies, you don't go to meet your friend or go out for lunch or dinner or hiking, but do it moderately or reduce some time. Maybe in the weekend, 2 days, you use one day to work on your own dream project, another day for your friend and fun, right? And so I believe that's a balance. At least that's how I
That's
did
how
it,
you
right?
approach it. Right. And next gen accounting,
Yeah.
right? We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And for someone who comes up to you and say, I want to start a new business just like you did,
Yeah.
what are the practical advice that you give to them? Because I'm sure you hear this question quite often, especially because of Vision to
Yeah.
Reality Foundation, which I want to get to as well.
Yeah. So mainly starting a business is not easy. So you needed to be prepared mentally. Lots of price you need to pay. And also early days when I just started, one of my mentor told me, Winnie, there's a price to pay. Either you pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. In life,
Mm,
general. So similar, like if you spend all your money now, when you're old, you have no savings, right? You will live a more like a lower life, not mean lower life, lower quality of life. Um, but if you paying the price now, doing the saving 20% of your net earning and accumulating. When you're getting old, you can have like later on you have more time to play. Or similar like you're going to university. The 4 years is different, or 5 years, or 6 years you finish your degree is difficult. There are some course you hate, you don't like it. Were not in your personal interest, but you maybe you have to do to get your degree. So you are paying a price, basically, right? But eventually you get that price. But if you only like 20 credit short and you just drop it, and then when you're 50 years old, you're still thinking about I'm 20 credit short
mm,
because I didn't complete
regrets.
that one. Regret, yeah. If but there are some people they just drop the school, they start their own, like a futures in entrepreneur. And it's totally okay. I have many of my clients. They high school graduate, never go to university. They're super successful and super happy too in
Mm,
their life. So nothing wrong to not going to university. But if you are thinking this is something you wanted to do, you just need to put up and complete it, right? So as an entrepreneur, number one, you need to realize there's a price to pay and you're willing to pay it. So your why is big enough, allowed you to pay it, to take that action, to be that consistent, persistent, right? To be that, like a lifelong learners, to be that kind of person to your staff, to your clients, to your family, to everyone. It's difficult to do. It's a hard life as an entrepreneur, um, especially in the first few years. There's a big price to pay. So that's why not everybody choose to be entrepreneurs. Only
mm,
small percentage, and also not everybody will be successful as an entrepreneur. The reason is because there's a price to pay. And also there's many other reasons will affect. Maybe the funding, maybe your knowledge base, your own health, family issues, right? Or economic trend. There's many issue will like affect your true business. Um, but I'm thinking the the biggest one is you do have to have that big why. And
mm,
so without the why, you can't move even first step, right?
right.
You have the why big enough, you will give you the confidence, your guts. You will go to looking for everywhere for money. You are
Yeah.
looking for everybody to support you. You are looking for all the people share your visions with all the people that are willing to listen to you, and eventually you will find that person to
Mm.
or the group of people to support you. That's
And
exactly how Vision to Reality start. Yeah.
so if I found the why and I come to you, come to
Mm.
Vision to Reality Foundation and said,
Mhm.
okay, what's next? And being part of the community, what benefits do I get?
Yeah, because our foundation started about 2.5 years ago. Now we basically just creating an online community and to giving free support, resource, connections for anybody want to start business, but mainly focus on newcomers and the
Mm,
international student because they came here. I can feel the pain because I've been there, and all my other three co-founders we all newcomers in certain years, right?
mm,
And we all know that pain. When we came, we all have three challenges. One
mm,
is our English not good enough.
mm,
Second, our culture maybe not match with here. And number three, we have no connections. And
Mm.
we didn't grow up here. We don't have our classmates. We don't have our childhood friends. All our families here. And so those three challenges make us, how to say, discourage us or make us feel less confident. Even we know a lot back home, we don't feel confident. We don't know our skill sets will be accepted here, will be appreciated by the boss, by the job. So those feeling we all had. And I know exactly the pain point of newcomer. That's why we're creating this foundation, mainly focusing on them. So we're creating the 12 mini course all layman language. Grade
Mm.
5 student can understand. No big words and long like a PDF and long PPTs. No, very short, very easy to understand, give you basic knowledge of business. We're also creating a lots of partners. There are different business circles, right? Chamber of Commerce, Board of Trade, or Futurepreneurs, Women Entrepreneur BC, Small Business BC. They're all our partners around us to
Mm-hmm.
support whatever you need. And also, we have a mentorship program. We can provide a mentorship. And for mentorship program, you truly need to remember one thing. So any mentor give you suggestions, you take shopping cart analogy. That's what
Okay.
I learned from my first mentor.
Tell me
They say
more.
take a shopping cart analogy. What does it mean shopping cart? You go to a grocery store or any store, you're pushing your shopping cart, you only pick up whatever you want, right? You're not going to pick up the 20,000 items
Yeah.
from that store. They just thinking they're your mentor. They offer everything in that store, in Walmart, in Costco, in Safeway, in Save on Food, PriceSmart, TNT, any store. You're not going to pick up everything. So use shopping cart analogy. That's me only pick up what useful for you. Because your mentor is not you. They may be that shopkeeper. They want to offer you everything, right, in their shop. But you don't need certain items, right? Only
Yeah.
pick up the one useful for you.
And what backgrounds do these mentors have?
Our we require the mentors either business owners or they're business professionals in their job. At least have 3 to 5 years experience. Um, but they're mainly local people. And they're Canadians or grew up here or born here, or somebody like me come here already a long time, understand the business landscapes, right? So they can give you some idea. Even you're just looking for a job, even you're just looking for, oh, what course I should take, which faculty I should focus on for the future. At least they can give you some culture background.
Mm.
Not mean they're the one tell you to hey to be this like a big data analysis or be this financial person. It's not that mean they give you that kind of suggestion, but they can give you the general Canadian culture background
Mm-hmm.
landscape. I
Yeah.
think that's the best part of our mentorship.
I have a question to ask you, Winnie,
Mm,
which I've been wanting to ask you. You're a
mm,
multimillionaire at this point.
mm.
Why do you care about volunteering? Why do you care about starting this foundation when you can just go to a beach and just relax, you know? Like why is this important to you?
And we do travel.
Yeah.
We are going to beach and the mountains, and we're going to Africa like for a month, like almost a month for mid July to August this year. And we've been many places in the world already for travel. But the things is when you reach certain level, when you have a food in your tummy, right? When you have your shelters, and you don't need to worry about finance. Um, but at that time, most of people looking for purpose, right? Looking for what your life meant. And my mentor, Azim Jamal, he said he did a speech in, I don't remember which country, but he was invited to a country for a business convention. Almost every single person there, they're multimillionaires. So he was talking to the host. He asked the host, he asked the host, he said, you yourself are also a multimillionaire. You have your private jet, you have everything, right? And all the people is gonna listen to me to give this talk also financially way better than me or very very super successful and financially said that what I can give to somebody have everything. Right? So
Mm.
he asked his host, and his host pond on it, thinking about it, and then replied to him, said, Azin, when somebody have everything, the things you can offer is the purpose. They're looking for purpose of their life. So that's what he becoming his topic of that day's public speaking. So you're
Purpose.
talking about the purpose, right? When you have everything and you are looking for what legacy you can leave, what impact you can create for this world, what you can leave for next generation. And that's basically the reason why I wanted to start this foundation, because I feel I owe Canada, because Canada gave me so much opportunity, and so many Canadians in the beginning support me, trust me, mentored me, and I feel it's my own success. I'm not like a super rich person, but at least reach that financially freedom level, and I can make each day the decision what I to do, not related with earning next dollar. So that's called a financially free. But the thing is that I feel so many knowledge myself and many other people like me accumulated in the last 30 years, and they should offer to other people and give them for free. So one of my topic of public speaking is do not take your knowledge to your grave.
Mm.
And that's my calling for many people like myself. And why do you want to take your knowledge to grave? Because when we're all going to die, right? Including myself, including you. And when we die, we can't even take our shirt. We can't take the pendants, any jewelry, anything. The only things lost forever is your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom in here.
Sure.
Nobody is going to know it. You're not going to leave it. But why don't you just give it for free during you're still alive, still on this earth? So
Mm.
that's basically one of my topic of talk. We could have another podcast just for that topic
There's so
alone.
much
Yeah,
more to discuss with
yeah,
you.
just for
Yeah.
that topic
Yeah.
alone. And it's truly, I truly believe it, because I feel so many people accumulate, so many business owner, business professional, like learn so much in their own life. They failed, they got up, they failed, they got up. They have so much wisdom collectively, not just me. And we could offer to next generation people like you, and they just starting life. They wanted to make it. They wanted to make their life mean something for this society. So I believe truly all of us wanted to be that person and to leave a track, in this earth is short, this 90 years or 100 years you live on this earth. You wanted to leave something here and to show you had been here on this earth, right? So that's why so many people writing books, so many people doing social media recordings, because they wanted to leave a track. They wanted to leave somebody remember them. Of course, after 3 generations, nobody remember you, but the things is not
Right.
us. So this is why I wanted to create this
Mm-hmm.
foundation, because I'm going to be long gone, becoming ashes, becoming fertilizing the trees, or go to the ocean, right? That doesn't matter. It's this foundation will lasting maybe 2 generations, maybe 3 generations, if people can carry on, right?
Yeah.
That's why you leave your legacy. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you see so many people, they in the beginning similar like me, selfish reason, with a scare or just want to earn money. I came from a countryside, very poor place, to a city. I wanted to really make it on the Wall Street or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually when they becoming financially free, they starting foundations where they
Yeah.
where they donate money or
Bill Gates, Miranda
or give
Foundation.
away, right? Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and almost all. And you're looking what they put their money in, like a SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Investments.
created some other investment for future science, right? So they always do that. The reason is that's the true purpose later on. Um, so I'm feeling we're just a small potato. We're doing in a small scale, but eventually this just like a drop of water. They're creating that ripple again, 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 again by other people like you, right?
Beautiful. And circling back to the book that you just gifted me today,
Hmm.
called The Black Egg, A Chinese Woman's Journey, which is something that your mother wrote. So
Yeah,
that's the legacy piece that we talked about, and you
exactly. Yeah,
translated that.
yeah.
So I really appreciate you gifting me this. And
Yeah.
if you want to tell the audience a little bit more about what is in this book and why should they read it, that'd be great.
No, because my mother's life, 16 years old, joined Red Army, went to Korean War for 3 years. At age 16, they saw the big bombings and people's arms, legs on the trees, and that's what they've been through. My mom and dad, they met each other, fall in love at the trenches,
Oh my
actually,
God.
at age 16, and then they married. Now they're married almost 70 years. They're
Mm,
still with me. They live in my house. I'm taking care of them at their turn 90 this year. So basically, this book I translated 2 years ago when they're 88 years old birthday. My sister and I both present this book to my parents as a
mm,
88 years birthday gift. So this year I just recorded the audiobook for this one and is gonna giving to them as their 90 years old birthday
nice.
gift in October. Because the reason I asked my mom to write this book, I said, write above your life. Because your grandchildren, your great grandchildren is not gonna remember your life, right? And write above it. My mom said, I'm not a book writer. I'm more like a scholar, like doing research, whatever. I'm not a really a story type of a person. I said, just write it as you're telling us. So she basically wrote her life almost like a biography, but by short stories, one by one, and talking about the family culture, how they grew up, right? I mean, go through the whole histories of the 70 some years of Chinese history from the wars, the civil wars, and then the Japan, the Second World Wars, until the later on early 90s in China open up and people becoming pers- becoming rich or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So basically the whole journeys of their life waving in this book and also talking how to creating a family culture. So she dedicate this book actually for the grandson and want them to remember the the wisdoms. So that's what I'm hoping um, she can share. But many people already read her Chinese book, like many years ago, and I just translate this to English. Many of my
Absolutely.
English friends they were reading it, and they seem so like it.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Where can they find this book?
Just on Amazon.
Perfect.
Right now it's on Amazon, yeah. But I'm giving you for free this
Thank
one.
you. Appreciate it. I like reading books now,
Yeah.
so perfect timing. Someone's asking, how can I reach Winnie? I want to have a chat with her.
No, you can find me on Vision to Reality, which is our website. It's www.v2rf.org, or just my name, Winnie Sue, WINIE, which is Winnie the Pooh, right? Sue is HSU. If you find me on LinkedIn, it's pretty easy to find me there. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
I'd just like to say thank you, Vinny. Thank you so much for your time. You're so inspiring. You have this incredible growth mindset. In this second part, we talked a little bit more about
Mhm.
business side, and you went back to values where you talked about consistency, persistent. So important, right?
Yeah,
And there's so much that I have to learn as well. And I hope that Vision to Reality Foundation really helps more entrepreneurs here in Vancouver and to grow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Okay. Wonderful.